Hey, what's up, everybody? So this morning I did a video talking a little bit about mindset, and I wanted to jump back on because I did a video. It was a 2-day mindset challenge by Rob Dial. He's a mindset coach, and I watched the first video this morning, and it was really, really good. And I just wanted to share. It's interesting because part of the challenge was to teach it to somebody, so I wanted to jump on here and kind of tell you a little bit about it. And I've already gotten a lot out of it, and I feel really great about kind of some of the positive effects it's already had in my day today. But so he was basically saying that we were talking. It's funny because this morning I was talking about being in a negative frame of mind, and he started out his talk about about having positive thoughts and negative thoughts, and it was really good. Like, I never thought of it this way, but he was saying that there's nothing wrong with negative thoughts, because as a human being we're taught we have negative thoughts. It's kind of like a survival thing from back when we were cavemen and stuff like that. It's our brains tell us what we need to do to survive. And so he was basically saying that when you have a negative thought, your brain, like, for example, if I say to you, what color is my shirt? Your brain automatically, when I ask that question, says black, right? So your brain actually looks for an answer to the question. So when you have a negative thought, it's because you're having some kind of indication that there's a change that's needed. And so he was saying that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it depends on what you do with that negative thought. So a lot of people, and I do this all the time, when I have a negative thought, I follow that up with a question, because that's what our brains are meant to do. It's a question that says, how do I solve this? Or I follow it up with a what he was calling a disempowering question. So in other words, I might go to be like, this sucks, I really need to change this thing about my life, and it's all negative, and it's more like sort of like types of solutions of I just really wish I didn't feel this way, I wish I didn't have that thought, rather than having a empowering question, which is, here's this problem, what do I need to do to work through it? And that when we have those negative thoughts, we kind of have this choice. We can either go through the next thought can be disempowering, or we can move towards an empowering thought, which says, okay, here's a problem, and I need to figure out how I'm going to solve that, and to kind of walk through the actions that it takes to get through that issue. Because our negative thoughts are usually triggered by some negative condition on the outside. So, and then he basically went on. It's like, if you can be aware of those negative thoughts as they come up, and then ask an empowering question, which is, what would I need to do to overcome this issue? Then what you do, and you can write this down on paper, it's kind of a journaling thing. You write down that empowering question, and then it takes your attention and your focus on a solution, because our brains as a human being are focused on finding solutions. So what he suggested you do is you write down that question, that positive question, that empowering question, and then you start listing, and he went into a little more detail about like time frames, and this is more like goal setting stuff, but like you set a time frame for a solution to your problem, and then you start listing, what's the plan? What are the things that I can do to work through this? He was talking about it in terms of his own experience, and for something that he was planning about a year out. And he started listing all the things that he needed to do in between that time and that year. And so anyway, I've been really thinking about this, and I wanted to share it with you. So again, it's like you have a negative thought, and you have a choice at that point, or a negative condition happening. You have a choice at that point. Am I gonna continue perpetuating this by thinking more negatively, or am I going to ask a positive, empowering question, which is, how can I work through this? And then start to look for solutions to your problem. And what I loved about it was he was saying, you get this down on paper. Many of you guys know that, I feel very strongly about doing written practice. And because when we write, our minds slow down and we're much better able to focus. So started working on some of this stuff already, and I have the second video of his to watch, and I'll kind of report on that maybe tomorrow. But I just wanted to jump on here and teach that to you guys, and hope you got some value from that. And again, that came from Rob Dial, Dial, if you want to look him up. Really good stuff. So thank you, Rob.